Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Rob, and today we're taking a trip to the outer reaches of the solar system and back in time through 5 years of interplanetary adventuring in Destiny 2. Serious faces on, everybody.
This is my serious face. Can't you tell?
The original Destiny launched in 2014 and redefined online console gaming overnight. Here was a true shared world, blending co-op and competitive play, an ever-growing game that you could play every day, every week, possibly forever. With its immaculate gunplay, super-powered abilities, and gorgeous sci-fi world, we simply couldn't get enough of it. A sequel naturally followed. Destiny 2 arrived in 2017, and Bungie has been expanding and refining that beguiling space magic ever since. Titans, warlocks and hunters have been knocking heads with the enemies of humanity in Destiny 2 for more than 5 years now, and today the game is almost unrecognisable from its original form. With the latest expansion, Lightfall, releasing at the end of the month, I'm putting down my Gallahorn just long enough to put the series in context, to make sense of the journey it's been on, where it's ended up, and where it's about to go. Before Lightfall's arrival then, this is a look at Destiny 2 so far.
There will be no coming back.
It's worth it.
Destiny 2 arrived in September 2017 and was a return to first principles, a bid to streamline a game that had never stopped growing. Bungie wanted the sequel to be more readable, more approachable, and less intimidating to newcomers. It remixed weapon slots and character classes, and much of the randomization that drove Destiny's loot system was done away with. 2 smaller DLC expansions, Curse of Osiris and Warmind, arrived in Destiny 2's first year, each adding a new destination and a raid lair, a slimmed down take on the series' difficult endgame activities. This pattern of a big annual expansion with 2 smaller content drops in between dates back to the beginning of Destiny 1, but this would be its last appearance. Bungie started looking for a better, more continuous way to tell their story between expansions, and the studio found it with Forsaken, Destiny 2's next expansion. Forsaken arrived in September 2018 and was a moment of great change. Core gameplay was overhauled, Bungie refreshed the weapon system and updated character subclasses with new abilities and supers. A new seasonal model brought fresh activities, storylines and loot every few months, and a new mode, Gambit, was introduced, which bridged the divide between PvE and PvP. 2 teams battle separately against waves of enemies and race to kill a boss, invading each other's worlds to slow their rivals down. In PvE, we met a new enemy faction, the Grotesque Scorn, and got a new weapon type to kill them with, a deliciously snappy bow. There was a huge twist when Guardians conquered the campaign and found themselves transported to an all-new destination, the mysterious Dreaming City. And for the endgame players, there were 3 full raids across the year. This was also the year Destiny 2 got dark. The death of fan-favourite quip machine Cade 6 left us wondering if our Guardians really were the infallible, invincible monster-killing machines we thought. And things would get darker still in the upcoming expansion, Shadowkeep. Shadowkeep arrived in 2019, Bungie sending us back to a glowed-up version of Destiny 1's Moon, where we battled the Hive and sought to unravel the mystery of a pyramid ship found deep underground. There was more nostalgia for veterans in the raid, the Garden of Salvation, which sent us to the Black Garden, scene of the climax to the original Destiny campaign. Shadowkeep also heralded the long-awaited return of Trials of Osiris, the signature endgame activity for PvP diehards, a 3v3 mode with no respawns. It tasks teams with going flawless, getting 7 wins without losing, and rewards the few who succeed with some ultra-powerful, unique loot. The seasonal model leveled up considerably. Seasons in Forsaken told self-contained stories, but from Shadowkeep onwards, they flowed into each other and helped establish the narrative stakes for the next big expansion. A new seasonal artifact was introduced that unlocks a suite of new armor mods as you level up. It is still in the game today, letting Bungie freshen up the Destiny sandbox every few months, ushering underused weapon types into the meta and giving players new tools for build crafting. Players had more options for customization than ever before, in other words, though they were still bound to the game's 3 elements: Arc, Solar and Void. For now, at least. That all changed when Beyond Light arrived in 2020, bringing with it the chilling new element, Stasis. This was a landmark moment, and not only in combat, it meant a shift in story and tone as well. Until now, our power had come from light, a paracausal force blessed upon the Guardians by the Traveller. Stasis, however, came from an entirely different source, the darkness. In Beyond Light, members of the Fallen faction have allied with the darkness, taking on some of its power. To defeat them, you must do the same. So yes, Beyond Light's campaign was about whizzing around Europa, a frozen moon of Jupiter, and using your newfound powers to freeze and shatter your enemies. But in story terms, it was time for some soul-searching, to consider what it means to be a Guardian, to question light and the supposed benevolence of the Traveller, and to wonder whether darkness is really as bad as they say. That story also saw the dramatic disappearance of Io, Mars, Titan and Mercury, with the huddled remnants of our solar system left staring at unfamiliar skies. In lore terms, the ever-encroaching darkness had shrouded these celestial bodies, throwing them into a state of liminal non-being. But this cliffhanger had a practical underpinning as well, moving the planets in question to the Destiny Content Vault, or DCV, as part of Bungie's efforts to streamline the ever-evolving Destiny 2, meant more manageable install sizes and more room for new content in upcoming seasons. The introduction of the DCV was a significant milestone, but Bungie made it clear that any content moved there could potentially be brought back, and that the whole of Destiny 1 is in the DCV as well. To prove the point, a few months later, we were heading back into the revered Destiny 1 raid Vault of Glass, which had been given a subtle mechanical overhaul and a sumptuous visual one. There were other new additions, all new weapon perks mixed up the sandbox. Legend and Master Lost sectors gave solo players a route to powerful exotic armor, and an overhaul for the free-to-play New Light offered an entry point to beginners. Beyond Light was the first expansion to launch on PlayStation 5. It's now 60 frames per second action, dazzling even seasoned Guardians. And they would be dazzled, for other reasons, by what was coming next too. Bringing us right up to date is 2022's The Witch Queen, held up by the Destiny community as the best expansion since 2015's The Taken King, and perhaps the greatest of them all. It pits us against the most threatening new faction to date, the light-wielding Lucent Hive. They mimic Guardians and have space magic of their own, supers and all, and ghosts to revive them when they die. The new legendary campaign difficulty offers veterans an unprecedented challenge, while the narrative revives years-old plot threads and makes clear that after all this time, Destiny's Light and Darkness saga is finally building to a resolution. Bungie hasn't been entirely in serious mode all this time, mind you. It celebrated its 30th anniversary with a DLC pack that threw the lore to the wind by adding new weapons inspired by past Bungie worlds to the sandbox. A whole dungeon called Grasp of Avarice, the return of the Galahorn exotic rocket launcher, along with a new mode that had you running errands for a space horse in a bizarre sci-fi game show. The Witch Queen also heralded another sweeping overhaul of the sandbox, as Bungie made the biggest, most fundamental change to the player's arsenal in Destiny history: weapon crafting. No longer was getting a god roll weapon about praying to the RNG gods. Now, with enough time, you could make an even better one. players' inventories duly overflowed with the guns of their dreams. The stasis powers introduced in Beyond Light were built with a new, highly customizable aspects and fragment system. Bungie updated the 3 light subclasses to allow players more customization and build crafting capabilities than ever. The results were wild. An endless supply of grenades? You got it. Infinite invisibility? Sure thing, Guardian. A screen full of enemies exploding when you kill just one of them? Seriously, there are loads of ways to do that. The core power fantasy of Destiny has never been better. That old term, space magic, barely does it justice. Lightfall, then, is just around the corner. There's another new subclass, the Darkness-powered Strand, and a new destination, the Neptune city of Neomuna, to explore. What else does Bungie have up its sleeve? You'll be able to find out all the juicy details here on PlayStation Access, but if we've learned anything from Destiny 2 over the years, it's to expect the unexpected. We look forward to finding out for ourselves when Lightfall arrives on the 28th of February. Give this video a like if you found it helpful. Let us know in the comments if you're excited for Lightfall, and do stay tuned to the channel so you don't miss anything from the world of PlayStation. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again soon.
PlayStation